Director Gaspar Noé's work is known as being polarizing, brutal, and above all, memorable. The Argentinian director has brought us some of the most controversial films of all time, including I Stand Alone and Irreversible. So when his new film Climax started to receive some hype, everyone started to pay attention. And for good reason. This film is a twisted ride that first mesmerizes the audience with its talent, and then twists into a dark nightmare that you just can't look away from or unsee. To be honest, I feel like this film should be played in the DARE school program. Kids, don't do drugs. The plot follows a group of French dancers who have been working hard rehearsing a new piece. They decide after one last run through that they are done for the night and it's time to let their hair down. But innocent fun turns into the most terrifying night of their lives when the group is spiked with LSD. This film is wild and it's brutal, which is completely expected. But what I love the most about this film is its simplicity. The way the characters are built at the start, you know what they're in for and you know what's gonna happen and you do not care because it's so sickly, I'm gonna say it, it's sickly satisfying to watch. The film takes its time warming you up to the raw personalities of the dancers. It does this by holding long scenes in real time, showing full conversations, and of course, by letting the audience be mesmerized by the dancing. The film grips the audience by showing the hypnotizing dancing in many ways, including a stunning bird's eye view. And while you are sinking into the dance, in the back of your mind, you know exactly what kind of film you're watching. And yes, I know what you sickos want to hear. The film does go all the way. This film is downright twisted, horrific, brutal, and traumatizing in the ways that we love. We're sick. We're so sick. When the drugs hit and the characters start to lose control, that's when you have to sit back helplessly and watch. I felt like I was watching Mother again, if you guys know that scene where she keeps telling the people to get off the sink and they keep sitting on it and it keeps breaking. You just feel so helpless and irritated. But this time, it's a little bit more traumatic, a lot more blood, and a lot more at stake. But for me, the most effective part is that you don't see any of it from their perspective. While they're tripping out, you're watching stone cold sober, like you're the designated driver. But as the film goes on, the cinematography starts to change and shift with the progression. Let's say the progression. And we start getting unique angles and interesting lighting. And I'm actually really glad it does this because it becomes really hard to watch the deeper the film goes. And I don't think I could watch any of this in the cold light of day. It's not for that. And so for the cinematography to lend you a hand and suck you in the way the characters are, it's like you're losing control and you can't do anything about it. You're being sucked into the void. Gaspar, the director, was really shocked by the reception of Climax. He was expecting people to react the same way they do for his other films, but for Climax, it's mostly positive reviews. Something that, again, he was not expecting himself. But when you break down the film, how seamlessly the flow is from normal to traumatic, he's paid a lot of attention to the smaller details, and when you break down the simple story and how he got there organically, it makes sense why it worked. Climax's downfall feels so organic because of the way that Gaspar went about creating the environment for the actors. He picked the cast based on their dancing ability and sourced them from Crump and other dancing classes around the world. He then chose to write the characters around the talent, basing the outcome on each person and even inviting some of them to name their own characters. The film was also highly improvised. Even the shots of the snow at the very start with the drone shot, that wasn't meant to be in the film. It just so happened there was snowfall when they were filming, so they decided to get a beautiful opening shot and they incorporated it into the film's story. This also goes for the talent during the film and the way the characters kind of morphed and were like depraved in a way. As I said before, there was a lot of long conversations, and instead of Gaspar going in and telling them exactly what dialogue he wanted, he just got the people in groups to kind of talk about the other dancers, and he just left the camera rolling rolling for half an hour to 40 minutes and then just cut what he liked out of it and put it all together to make the storyline kind of flow. Again, a very organic way of working with talent for such a big director. Lastly, to help with the flow of the downfall of the film, it's actually shot in chronological order, which is quite a rare way to film because of budget and logistic kind of errors, especially with working with kids. With all of this together, the film flows and it just clicks. This film is simply brutal, and as hard as it is to watch, you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. You could see everything unfolding from the first few moments. Gaspar just packaged this one up into a perfect, traumatizing bow. I love this film. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 for personal. For scare, an 8. It's not really scary, it's just, again, traumatizing. And for originality, I'm gonna give it a 7. It's like not a very original story, but the way it's directed and the way it flows. The flow of the movement of the film is much like the dancing, very mesmerizing. And if you have a strong stomach, I really recommend this film. If you like films a little bit weird, a little bit different, a little bit deep, definitely check this one out. You'll want to see it in a room by yourself and not talk to anyone for the next hour. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay spooky.